In this video, we're going to look at another example on how to sketch the reciprocal function y is equal to 1 on f of x when we're given the graph of y is equal to f of x. As mentioned in the previous video, when doing these questions, it's always very useful if we have a checklist of the features of f of x in which we're looking for. The reason for this is because each important feature on your f of x function translates to another important feature on your reciprocal function 1 on f of x. So we're going to begin by looking at our first feature when f of x is equal to 0. Now this is essentially where your f of x has got x-intercepts, and in this diagram this occurs at x is equal to -2 and x is equal to 1. If f of x is equal to 0, then if we think about 1 on f of x, we have got 1 divided by 0, and that is undefined. So this means that wherever f of x is equal to 0, your reciprocal function is going to have vertical asymptotes. So we can begin by sketching in the vertical asymptotes at x is equal to -2, another one at x is equal to 1. Next, we're going to consider f of x approaching 0. Now that's going to be around this region here as well as this region here. When f of x approaches 0, we can either approach it from the top half or the bottom half. So let's consider f of x approaching 0 from the top half. So we're slightly positive, for example, positive 0.00001. When that happens around here, you think about 1 divided by a very small positive number. 1 on f of x is going to go towards positive infinity. So for this region here, for your f of x, the corresponding reciprocal function is going to head towards positive infinity, and we can sketch that section in there. Now, if we think about f of x approaching 0, but on the bottom half, so for example, negative 0.00001, very small, but negative. When that happens, 1 divided by a very small negative number, it's going to go towards negative infinity. So for this section of the graph here, your reciprocal function is going to go towards negative infinity. And now let's consider what happens when f of x approaches infinity. So we can approach infinity, positive infinity. When that happens, we have 1 divided by a very large positive number, and your reciprocal function would approach 0, but on the positive side. But for this graph, we don't have the function approaching positive infinity. However, we do have f of x approaching negative infinity, which is this section here and this section here. When that happens, we have 1 divided by a very large negative number. So we're still going to get a negative answer, but it's so small. So we say the reciprocal goes towards 0 on the negative side. So we're going to sketch that in here as well. And then let's think about what happens when f of x is equal to positive or negative 1. If f of x is positive 1, 1 on f of x is 1 divided by 1, which is also 1. If f of x is negative 1, 1 divided by negative 1 is also negative 1. So this means that wherever f of x is equal to positive or negative 1, the two graphs will have the same value, and so they're both going to intersect. So we're going to mark in those points where f of x is equal to 1, which is here and here, as well as when f of x is negative 1, which is here and here. And now let's consider the y-intercept of f of x. If the y-intercept of f of x is equal to c, the reciprocal function will have the y-intercept of 1 over c. Now for this one, our y-intercept is 1. So the reciprocal function also has the same y-intercept of 1, because 1 divided by 1 is also 1. If we think about the turning point of f of x, whenever f of x has a maximum turning point, your reciprocal will have a minimum turning point. And whenever your f of x has a minimum turning point, your reciprocal will have a maximum turning point. So in this graph here, we have got a maximum turning point at -1.25, 4.27. So the reciprocal will have a minimum turning point, and the coordinates going to be at -1.25 and 0.23. So it's going to be somewhere about here. So let's mark that in. negative 1.25 and 0.23. That's the reciprocal of 4.27. So now we've got all the information. All we need to do is connect all the dots. So we're going to begin connecting all those dots. And that's the reciprocal function of your y is equal to f of x graph. Thanks everyone for watching the video. I hope you guys found that useful. For more videos on this topic or other topics, please do check out our channel. We do release videos regularly. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. We hope to see you all in the next one. Bye for now.